It was supposed to be just another peaceful summer day. On August 20th, 2007, a 12-year-old girl was walking with her family along the quiet, rocky shore of Jedediah Island, off the coast of British Columbia, Canada. The sky was clear, the tide was low, and the family was enjoying the calm beauty of nature. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary until the girl spotted something unusual lying in the sand near the water's edge. At first, she thought it was a regular old sneaker, maybe something washed up from a boat or lost by a hiker. But as she stepped closer and leaned in, her stomach turned. The sneaker was not empty. Inside was a human foot, still wearing a sock, still inside the shoe, real, intact, and very much out of place. She screamed. Her family ran over. At first, they were confused and horrified. They contacted the authorities immediately. Soon, the area was sealed off, and police arrived to take the foot for forensic analysis. It was a men's size 12 white and blue sneaker, a fairly common running shoe from a popular brand. But other than that, there were no clues. No ID, no other remains, no signs of a struggle. Just a foot. Alone. No one had any idea where it came from, or who it belonged to. The news of the severed foot spread quickly. Locals were shocked. People thought maybe it was a rare accident, a drowning or a boating tragedy. But before they could settle on any theory, something even stranger happened. 6 days later, on August 26, 2007, another human foot washed up on Gabriola Island, just a few miles away. It was also inside a sneaker. And once again, it was a right foot, 2 feet, found on 2 different islands. Both right feet, both in sneakers. Found less than a week apart. That's when people started to panic. Was it a murder? A freak boating accident? Or something more disturbing? Police were baffled. These weren't bones or decomposed body parts. They were full feet, mostly preserved. Even more puzzling, there was no sign that they had been cut off. Experts determined the feet had naturally separated at the ankle, something that can happen after long exposure in the ocean. Still, that didn't explain why it was happening now, or why the shoes were all turning up in such a small region. In February 2008, a third foot was discovered, this time on Valdez Island, again in the same general area off the British Columbia coast. The foot was once again a right foot in a similar type of running shoe. That made 3 severed feet, all right-sided, all wearing sneakers, all discovered within months of each other. By this point, the mystery had captured the attention of the entire country and even the world. It became known in the media as the severed feet mystery. Reporters, bloggers, and conspiracy theorists began flooding the internet and newspapers with speculation. Some people thought it was the work of a serial killer, carefully disposing of victims in the ocean. Others believed it might be a gang-related warning or some kind of human trafficking gone wrong. There were even paranormal theories. Some joked about aliens collecting body parts. Others believed it was some bizarre ritual. But no one was laughing for long, especially not when more feet kept turning up. In May 2008, a 4th foot was found, this time a left foot. For the first time, this brought hope to investigators. Maybe they could identify someone. The foot was sent for DNA testing and analysis. To everyone's surprise, it matched one of the earlier right feet found. It belonged to a man who had been reported missing several years earlier. His family confirmed the identity. The cause of death wasn't officially released to the public, but authorities stated there was no sign of foul play. It was believed he had died by suicide, possibly by jumping into the water. This single case offered a possible explanation. According to forensic scientists, when a body is in the ocean for a long time, it starts to break down. The ankle joint is a weak point, and with enough time and natural movement in the water, feet can attach on their own. And since modern sneakers are made with light, air-filled soles, they float, sometimes for hundreds of miles. And that's exactly what made them reach the shores. It was a strange but natural process. At least, that's what some experts believed. But the public wasn't convinced. If this was really natural, why hadn't it happened before 2007? Why were all the feet showing up in this one coastal area of British Columbia? And how come they were always in sneakers, never barefoot or in other types of shoes? And then there was the unsettling pattern. For a while, every new foot found was a right foot. No lefts, just rights. It seemed statistically impossible. Was someone targeting people specifically, or was it just some odd coincidence? The mystery kept getting deeper. In the months and years that followed, more feet would be discovered, sometimes with long gaps between discoveries, other times only weeks apart. Each new foot added more questions and answers. Police kept reassuring the public that there was no danger, no criminal pattern, no cause for alarm. But many people didn't buy it. Beaches that were once full of families and tourists became places of fear and curiosity. Some people went out searching for new feet, hoping to be the one to find the next clue. Others stayed far away, because no one really knew what the ocean would bring next. And the mystery had only just begun. By the end of 2008, 5 severed feet had washed up on British Columbia's coast. Most were still unidentified. Only one had been matched to a known missing person, and that case was ruled a non-criminal death. Still, nothing felt resolved. The public wasn't satisfied with explanations about decomposition and floating shoes, because with each passing year, more feet kept showing up. In October 2009, a 6-foot was discovered, this time on a beach near Richmond, just south of Vancouver. It was a size 8.5 Nike sneaker, and it was a left foot, finally bringing a little balance to the pattern of mostly right feet. Once again, the foot was intact, in a shoe, and there was no body to be found. But it was only the beginning of another wave. In August 2010, another left foot washed up, this time in Whidbey Island, Washington State. The first case found outside of Canada. It was a shocking turn, and for the first time, the U.S. became officially involved in what had once been considered a Canadian mystery. Authorities confirmed the foot had floated across the border. But even with international attention, no suspects, no foul play, and no links between the feet could be confirmed. There was still no evidence of murder, and most feet remained unidentified. That only made the mystery creepier. Then, in 2011, it happened again. On August 30th, a right foot was found in a size 9 hiking boot near Vancouver's Falls Creek. Later that year, a left foot turned up on a beach in Port Moody, not far from the others. By now, the public had stopped treating these findings as shocking. They had become part of the coastal legend. But behind the headlines and curiosity, there were families, real people, still missing loved ones, still wondering if one of these feet belonged to their brother, daughter, or friend. In several cases, DNA testing eventually helped solve that question. One foot was linked to a man who had been missing for over 5 years. Another matched a woman who had been battling mental illness. Her family had long suspected suicide but never found her body until her foot appeared years later, wrapped in a sneaker. Forensic scientists stood by their explanation. It was not murder, but a strange coincidence of natural decomposition, buoyant shoes, and ocean currents. The feet, they explained, were separating from bodies in the sea, drifting for miles, and eventually reaching shore, because modern shoes help preserve them. And it's true, modern sneakers have foam soles and air pockets that make them float and protect what's inside. Combine that with the fact that ocean scavengers rarely eat feet, and it starts to make a little more sense, scientifically at least. But the pattern still felt unnatural. In 2012, a severed foot in a New Balance sneaker was found on Sassamat Lake. That's not the ocean. It's a small freshwater lake far inland, raising entirely new questions. How did a decomposing foot inside a sneaker get there? This time, police were able to solve the case. The foot belonged to a man who had drowned in the lake nearly a year earlier. It had simply broken off during decomposition, just as experts described. But this example proved that these things didn't only happen in the ocean, and it gave more weight to the non-criminal theory. Still, that didn't stop speculation. Online forums exploded with theories. Was there a killer disposing of bodies at sea? Was it some kind of cover-up? Were all these feet even human? One chilling moment came in 2011 when a group of tourists found what looked like another foot in a shoe on Vancouver Island. But when police examined it, they found it wasn't real. It was a fake foot made from animal bones in a shoe, likely planted as a hoax. Someone was toying with the public. It was a sick joke, but it worked. It made people even more obsessed. Some believed the hoaxer might actually be the killer. Others thought they were just fueling the legend for attention. But real or fake, the discoveries continued. By 2016, the total number of human feet found had reached 14. Some had matches, left foot and right foot from the same person, but most were singles, alone, unclaimed, no name, no face, no story. Every time a new foot was discovered, it made headlines across Canada and the U.S. Some beaches put up signs warning visitors to call authorities if they spotted any suspicious footwear. Tourists started arriving not for the scenery, but to walk the beaches and hunt for severed feet. It became part of British Columbia's dark folklore. Locals gave it a name, the mystery of the floating feet. For a while, the discoveries slowed down. People thought it might be over. But then in December 2017, a hiker on South Vancouver Island spotted something along the beach, a foot in a black running shoe. Another foot, another wave of fear. This one was eventually identified. 2. A 79-year-old man who had gone missing months earlier. No foul play suspected. But still, the pattern continued. Every foot that washed ashore seemed to bring closure to one family, and at the same time, bring new mystery to everyone else. How many more were out there? And why hadn't this happened before 2007? Forensic scientists explained that older shoes, before the 2000s, weren't as buoyant. If a foot detached, it likely wouldn't float far before sinking or getting destroyed by the environment. But with newer sneakers made from lighter materials, feet could float for weeks, maybe even months, traveling across oceans before finally washing up. It's a theory that makes sense. But the mystery hasn't gone away. Because as of today, over 24 human feet have been found along the coast of British Columbia and Washington State since 2007, and not all of them have been identified. Some remain nameless. Some belong to people who were never even reported missing. No full bodies have ever been recovered. Just the feet. Always the feet. With each discovery, the legend grows. What started as one strange event became one of the creepiest and most bizarre mysteries in North American history. And even though experts say there's nothing to fear, deep down, people still wonder. What if it's not all just science? What if there's something darker going on? And what if the ocean is hiding more secrets than we can imagine? By 2018, the severed feet mystery had become more than a strange news headline. It had grown into an urban legend, fuel for conspiracy theories, horror stories, and late-night Reddit threads. Yet at the heart of it all were real people and real tragedies. That year, another human foot in a sneaker washed ashore in Gabriela Island, a peaceful place not far from Vancouver. Locals who had once come to the coast to walk their dogs were now keeping their eyes low, not for sea glass or driftwood, but for the next sneaker. As always, the police issued the usual statement. No signs of trauma, no foul play suspected. DNA testing would be done, and if possible, the person would be identified. It was becoming a routine, almost mechanical. But something didn't sit right with the public. Because by 2019, the total number of severed human feet found along the coasts of British Columbia and Washington State had reached 21. That's 21 feet, mostly right, mostly in modern sneakers, mostly without a body ever found. Statistically, it didn't feel like coincidence anymore. Some people still believe there was a serial killer. They pointed out how bizarre it was that the feet were always intact, not chewed up or weathered beyond recognition. And they questioned how the feet always ended up in shallow coastal spots, almost like they were placed there intentionally. Others believed in something even darker. One theory online suggested illegal organ trafficking, that people were being killed, their bodies harvested for parts, and then dumped in the ocean. It sounds far-fetched, but in a mystery with so few answers, even the wildest theories gained traction. Then there were those who said it was nature, not murder. Just random drownings, boat accidents, suicides, normal deaths with unusual aftermaths. The shoes, after all, were key to this whole thing. They floated. They protected. They carried those feet all the way to shore. Forensic oceanographers studied tidal charts and wind patterns. They tested how long it would take for an object the size of a human foot inside a running shoe to travel from one point in the ocean to another. Some even built simulations showing that it was entirely possible for a foot to float dozens of miles before washing up. Their conclusion? Most of the feet likely belonged to people who had died accidentally or by suicide, and whose bodies decomposed naturally in the water. Over time, the joints weakened, the foot detached, the shoe floated it to land. Cold, clinical, but maybe true. And yet, even scientists admitted something strange. This phenomenon had never been documented anywhere else in the world at this scale. Other places had drownings. Other coasts had lost hikers and boaters. But only the Pacific Northwest, specifically the stretch of water between Vancouver Island and the U.S. border, was seeing this bizarre, repeated occurrence. Why? Some say the geography of the area is the reason. The Salish Sea, with its strong tides, floating debris, and complex currents, may be uniquely designed to deliver things to shore. Add in the fact that the region has a high number of drownings and missing person cases each year, and the pieces start to come together. Still, not all the feet have been matched. Some remain complete mysteries. No DNA matches. No missing person reports to link them to. It's those unknowns that keep the story alive. In 2021, a woman walking her dog on a beach in British Columbia found what looked like another severed foot. It turned out to be a piece of animal bone inside a child's shoe. Another hoax? Maybe. Or maybe just another false alarm in a place where people now expected the unexpected. But later that year, a real human foot was discovered, again in a sneaker, bringing the total to 22 confirmed human feet since 2007. That's 22 chances for answers, and yet the full story still escapes us. Even though some of the feet have been matched to known individuals, and their deaths determined to be non-criminal, the unsettling pattern continues. Always one foot, always alone, always a sneaker. So what do we do with a mystery like this? The authorities say not to worry. It's science. It's decomposition. It's accidents. But the ocean doesn't give up all its secrets easily. To this day, people still walk the beaches of British Columbia, eyes scanning the surf, wondering what they'll find next. Maybe it'll be seaweed, maybe a shell, or maybe another floating shoe. And while the scientists are busy solving things with data and facts, the rest of us are left with something else. The eerie feeling that something just doesn't add up. Because no matter how many theories we hear, no matter how many experts weigh in, one chilling question still remains. Why here? Why feet? And why now? The severed feet mystery may have some scientific answers, but also has gaps, holes big enough to keep the curiosity alive for years to come. And until every foot is identified, until every person is accounted for, the waves will keep whispering a story that no one can quite finish. Thank you for watching this chilling journey with us. If you found this mystery as haunting and fascinating as we did, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel, AI Alvantis, for more real-life mysteries and unsolved stories from around the world. There's always more to uncover, and together, we'll keep digging into the dark corners where the truth still hides.